So is it too early to predict the playoffs? Can I predict the playoffs before we even have summer ball? Well, we about to find out because these are the teams that are going to make the 2026 college football playoff.
Who's ranked, who's real, who's built to last, who got exposed, who's moving fast. From the HBCU pride to the Power 5, like we talk football every week, every night. Fans in the stands, drums on go, lights on bright, and the crowd moves slow. Big hits, ball picks, everybody knows. Daniel Roundtree got the football show.
Ahoy! I'm Daniel Roundtree. This is the Daniel Roundtree College Football Show. Thank you so much for tuning in today. We've got another great episode for you. I don't know if you know this, but today's a new day because you woke up today. So that means it is a good day to talk college football. Listen, today we are talking and predicting the college football playoffs before one snap of summer ball has even been snapped. Before fall camp even begins, we're predicting the college football playoffs. So this one is definitely going to get controversial. I can't wait to hear what y'all have to say. I want you to jump in the comments and let me know which team I got wrong, which team I left off. But this is before we've seen anybody play. I'll probably do a college football predictor every single week once the season starts. But we got to jump into the teams that I think will absolutely make it into the college football playoff going into this 2026 season. Before we do that, hey, I appreciate you. I have a big goal to get to 500 subscribers. If you have not subscribed yet, please go ahead, look down, check that button right there. Click that subscribe button for me. Like this video because we have more content just like this coming your way, and we're doing it every single day, if possible, whenever we can, it's coming your way. Okay, so are you ready to talk college football playoff? Listen, I think when we look at the playoffs, there's a trend, right? SEC seems to always have the most amount of teams in the college football playoff. Whether we like that or not, that's probably what's going to happen again this year. In my opinion, I've already said it. They are the best conference top to bottom. It's the most competitive. It's the conference where anything can happen. So how I'm going to do this, I'm going to do it college football playoff style. I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to reveal the top four. And within the top four, I'm going to explain why they're the top four. And I am going to talk about their records. Then I'm going to start revealing the teams that just made it in, 5 versus 12 and 11 versus 6, etc., etc. Okay? Y'all ready? Let's get right into it. So at the number one seed, number one overall, I have the University of Miami. Listen, I don't want to jinx this team, but I just think hearing everything I've heard about their roster, top to bottom, and seeing the schedule, because listen, when you talk playoffs, the schedule matters. It's not about just how good your team is on paper. It's also about how good you are versus all the teams that you play. I think Miami has a very favorable schedule. They have some traps in there, games against Wake Forest that you think, oh, Miami should blow them out. Wake Forest was 9-4 last year. They're on my top 10 most underrated teams. That's a trap game, and it's at Wake Forest. But we won't get too deep into the schedule. I think out of all the teams that I have making the college football playoff, on paper at least, Miami has the best chance to go undefeated. I don't think any of these other teams are going to go undefeated. Listen, the reason I say that, in this NIL era, all these teams have really good players. Things are just so balanced. And I think now that Kurt Signetti kind of revealed the blueprint of how to win with less, I think more and more teams are going to copy what he does, especially on the defensive side of the ball. If you watch any ball at all, in regards to Indiana, you had to at least watch Indiana in the playoffs and the national championship. That style of, okay, we'll attack, but most of the time Indiana plays back. They play that very smart zone defense and they swarm to the ball. People are going to copy that. So because of that, I think these games are going to get tighter and tighter. There's going to be more upsets. There's going to be more teams. It's going to be more and more difficult to have teams undefeated. I don't think we're going to have another playoff where we have 4 undefeated teams going into the playoffs. I just don't see it. So Miami at number 1. At number 2, we have the University of Georgia. So listen, the University of Georgia in this prediction, I have them going 11-1. Yes, they have one of the most difficult schedules in all of college football. They play multiple good teams in the SEC. I have them going 11-1 in the regular season and then making it to the SEC championship and winning the SEC championship against Texas. So at 11-1, I think that one loss is going to either be against OU, against Ole Miss, or against Alabama. And they play Alabama at Alabama, so that could be the one. But if you know anything at all about Kirby Smart gonna do what it takes. He gonna do what he need to do, you know what I'm saying? With them dogs. I do it every time, I'm sorry, y'all. But he gonna do what he need to do to get them dogs into the playoffs. He's done a great job of it since he's been there. I think he's only missed the playoffs 1 or 2 times. Kirby Smart and them dogs at number 2. At number 3, this is where I'm going to start getting the hate comments, right? This is where it's going to get crazy. But at number 3, I have the University of Oregon. Yes, the Ducks. I think Oregon has the best chance on paper. Listen, this is on paper. We haven't seen any games yet. On paper, I think the University of Oregon has the best chance to win the whole Big Ten. And like I said in another video, I think this is one of the best rosters, top to bottom, that the University of Oregon has had in 25 years. Even better than that year when they had Marcus Mariota. And it was a special year. They went all the way to the championship and they played Ohio State. I think this roster is better top to bottom. That team back then might have been a little faster. I ain't gonna lie. I think that team might have had DeAnthony Thomas and some of those real deal runners. But this team, in regards to top to bottom, D-line, O-line, wide receivers, DBs, linebackers, this team is deep. So I do think Oregon is going to be another team that I think they're going to go 11-1 in the regular season. I do think they're going to slip up somewhere. I think they'll either lose to Ohio State or they'll lose to Michigan in the regular season, but they would have done enough to get into the Big Ten championship. And then I think whoever they play in the Big Ten championship, they're going to win, whether it's Ohio State again, or whether it's Michigan again, or Indiana, or Penn State, or Iowa. Hey, don't sleep on Iowa. I mentioned that Iowa has a very favorable schedule where they can slip into that Big Ten title and anything happens when you get to the title. But in this scenario, I have Oregon at number 2. They would be 13-1. They would have lost 1 game in the regular season, won the Big Ten title, and now they're the 3 seed, Oregon. Okay, at number 4, we have Notre Dame, the Fighting Irish. So listen, Notre Dame, in my opinion, has 3 difficult games. They play BYU. They also are going to play the University of Miami. And then they also will play SMU. So I think the very advantageous thing for them, I think 2 of those games are at home. And I think they do go to BYU. And I'll double check that. But for Notre Dame, they have other games that could be challenging, but these are the games that everybody is saying are going to be the most challenging for Notre Dame. That being said, I think Notre Dame is going to slip up somewhere. If they slipped up only to the University of Miami and they were a 1-loss team, even not having a conference championship, it'd be very difficult, right, for the committee to leave Notre Dame out of the playoffs again. Last year, they had 2 losses, and the head-to-head, absolutely, you can't put a team in over a team that lost to a team head-to-head. And I know that could have got confusing. Last year it made sense. This year, if they only had 1 loss, and that's to a team like Miami, who's number 1 in the country, they would still be the number 4 seed going into the playoffs, either number 4 or number 5. With the new ranking, I think they would be the number 4 seed. Their schedule definitely permits for it. They have great players. Listen, CJ Carr is going to be special this year. In regards to the receivers, number of different receivers that CJ Carr is going to be able to throw, to the point where I think Notre Dame might be more of a passing team than they were a running team. And in the defense, they have top 10 position groups almost at every group. I haven't even done a top 10 or top 5 linebackers. Their linebacking group will probably be number 1 or number 2 in the whole country. Special linebackers, really good defensive line. Y'all know how I feel about Leonard Moore as the best cornerback in all of college football. That defense is going to be lights out and really, really good. I really think that Notre Dame has a chance to be either undefeated or a one-loss team, and that's going to get them into the playoffs without a doubt. And if they only have one loss, they're going to be number 4. So the top 4, there you have it. Miami at number 1. We have Georgia at number 2. We have Oregon at number 3. And then we have Notre Dame at number 4. Now let's talk these matchups, because all 4 of those teams are going to have a bye. So at number 12 versus number 5. At number 12, we have a group of 5 team. And I think the group of 5 team, in my opinion, right now, not seeing anybody play, is very difficult to predict. I was thinking, okay, should I go with James Madison? Should I go with Boise State? Should I go with Troy? There's a lot of different teams that have the capability in the group of 5. Even Tulane, even though they lost their coach, they always have good players. However, I went with the University of Memphis in the ACC. I think the University of Memphis has always had good teams in the ACC. I think players-wise, they didn't lose too much. They're still going to be able to compete and potentially win the ACC this year. So I have Memphis at number 12. And I'm sorry, Memphis, but y'all would play a angry number 5 Ohio State. So again, I had Ohio State playing Oregon in that Big Ten championship, and I think Oregon beats Ohio State in the Big Ten, and Oregon gets a Big Ten title again. So Ohio State is going to be angry, and they're going to play Memphis, and it's not going to be good. I'm going to tell you right now, it's not going to be good for you, Memphis, if that happens. But that would be the number 12 versus number 5 seed, Memphis versus Ohio State. Okay, so at number 11, we have OU playing the number 6 team, which the number 6 team is the Big 12 title winner, University of Houston. So I think to talk about both of these teams, I think for the Big 12, unfortunately, they're going to be a team that's probably only going to get one team in again this year. I think a lot of people are really high on Texas Tech, but without Brendan Sorsby, now that's no longer an option. I just don't think that Texas Tech is going to have the capability to even win the Big 12. So the 2 teams that I juggled, I really went back and forth here, were BYU and Houston. And I said, well, BYU was this close last year. Had they won against Texas Tech, it would have been them playing Oregon versus Texas Tech. However, I think the reason I gave Houston the edge is I think Willie Fritz and Connor Wegman have something special that's really brewing, right? You saw the game against LSU, and that bowl game gave University of Houston so much confidence against teams that are seen as having better talent. I don't know if BYU has had that type of win yet. And I'm not talking about under Kalani Sitake, because he's a great coach. He's beaten plenty of really good teams. However, with Bear, the guy was a true freshman, experience matters. And I think Connor Wegman has so much experience. That's why I have them winning the entire Big 12, and they're going to play OU. So OU, if they're at number 11, I think that would put them at either number 3 or 4 within the SEC. I think that when we talk OU, this defense is going to be scary good again. And because of that, I really debated, okay, OU, Alabama. When it comes down to it, here's the truth. The SEC is probably going to have 4, maybe 5 teams get into the playoffs. This year, they're going to have half of the SEC, more than half actually of the SEC is all going to be ranked. They're really good teams. And I know a lot of people hate to hear that. It's just the truth. I can name them all off. I'm not going to do it right now, but go look at the SEC conference and you try to find more than 3 teams that aren't going to have winning records this year. Good luck. So I have OU in there at 11, playing Houston at 6. That's going to be a good game. That will be a very hard one to predict. I think OU is going to do enough to squeeze into the playoffs, but they're one that's debatable now. I want to say that because if you look at OU's schedule, they play Michigan out of conference, right? Then they're going to also have to play Texas in the Red River rivalry. They have a number of games that they could lose. And I think if OU gets to a point where they have 3 to 4 losses, they're going to be gone. We're going to replace them in this same slot with Alabama or someone else within the SEC. But Houston is my pick for the Big 12 title winner. Okay, so now at the 10 seed versus the 7 seed. So In my scenario, you're going to call me a little biased. I don't care. It's my list. But in my scenario, especially in regards to how these teams stack up this year, I have SMU at the 10 seed. Now, hear me out before I tell you who they're playing. SMU has been 14-2 within the ACC. They just win when it comes to playing ACC opponents. For that reason, this is why I have SMU within the playoffs. The reason why is, let's say SMU only has one loss going into the ACC championship. That's right. They beat everybody in the ACC again. Maybe their only one loss is to Notre Dame at Notre Dame in a hostile environment. And then if they lose or win, in this scenario, they would have lost the ACC title game against Miami, and that would put them with 2 losses. One being to the number 4 team, the other being to the number 1 team. I think in no scenario could the committee keep out an SMU team who lost to the number 1 team in the country and the number 4 team in the country unless they were complete blowouts. If it were both close games, both hard-fought losses, SMU would get in at the 10 spot, and they would face an angry, very angry number 7, Texas. Yes, this will be a great game to watch for all of Texas. For the old heads, SMU and Texas used to play on a regular basis back when it was the Southwest Conference, before a lot of people, including myself, were even alive, before SMU got the death penalty. And that's back when SMU was humming. That's back when SMU was the Pony Express. They were really good and they were beat up on Texas on a regular basis. SMU's trying to get back to that. In this scenario, they would be playing a Texas team that just lost in the SEC title, a Texas team that also played Ohio State earlier in the season, a Texas team that would have tons of experience in big-time games. I love my ponies, but I'll be honest, this is a draw that will be fun to watch. I never sleep on my guy, Red Lashley, but I think in this scenario, Texas will be a lot to handle for the Mustangs in a playoff game, number 7 versus 10, which would be at home. It will be in the University of Texas in Austin. So I think Texas has, in my opinion, probably top 2 hardest schedules in all of college football. Listen, Texas' schedule is brutal. They play Ohio State out of conference. Then they're going to also have to play Ole Miss. I believe they play Georgia in the regular season. In this scenario, they also would have to play them again. LSU, they have a tough schedule this year. I think they have 8 or 9 opponents that are all going to be ranked. Their entire season is against ranked opponents, it feels like. However, I think Texas is really good this year. They're number 1 in my preseason poll on paper for a reason. I don't think they're going to be number 1, as you can see, going into the playoffs, but I do think they're a playoff team based off of that particular roster on paper. Okay, and the final 2 spots, number 9 versus number 8, really good game. This game could have been the potential national championship last year had not Miami won. If you watched it, you know I'm talking number 9 Ole Miss versus number 8 Indiana in this scenario. Whoo! You talk high-flying offense and stingy, mean defenses. This will be a fun game to watch if it played out this way, especially since in this scenario, I think Indiana would be the number 3 Big Ten team, and they'd be playing the number either 3 or 4 SEC team, and it would be at Indiana. Whoo! This would have to be a night game, Indiana versus Ole Miss. It would be so fun to see Trinidad Chamberlain playing in Indiana against Josh Hoover and Kurt Signetti. Whew, man. And this one here, I don't know who would win, but I think Ole Miss is a really good team. I think at this spot, I really juggled a lot of teams. Again, it's the SEC, so I juggled LSU. I juggled Alabama. I juggled Missouri. The reason I gave Ole Miss the edge over LSU, I think with LSU, they're a team that a lot of people think are going to make the playoffs this year, and they could. They could be right in this slot or even higher The reason I edged them out is because I think for LSU, with new coaching staff coming in, obviously Lane implementing a new offense, and more importantly, it falls on the quarterback. So I looked at those two teams because those were the two teams I was really juggling. I looked at Alabama too, same thing, quarterback situation, two really young guys. Out of all three of those teams I just mentioned, even Missouri, Ole Miss has the best quarterback. And for that reason, that's why I said, okay, that would probably be the last SEC team. I even thought Texas A&M too. I said, well, will Texas A&M be as good as they were last year? Because their schedule in the SEC was pretty favorable last year. With Ole Miss, they have the quarterback. They also have Kawan Lacey, probably one of the best running backs, most explosive by far in all of college football. Pete Golden is always going to have great defenses. Listen, Will Nichols is scary. He might be the best interior defensive lineman in all of college football. Ole Miss has too many pieces, right, for me to think, yeah, they're going to have a big fall up this year. Listen, it's the SEC. It could happen, but I have Ole Miss in there, and then I have Indiana. Let's focus on Indiana for a second. So the reason I have Indiana at the number 8 seed, I think Indiana, this is the hardest schedule that Curt Cignetti has had since he's been at Indiana. His first year, his schedule was powder puff. Let's just be honest. I'm sorry, Curt. You know how I feel. I feel you're the best coach in college football, but your schedule your first year was powder puff. You beat everybody except for Ohio State. Last year, we saw how it went. Nobody could touch Indiana. The closest game was Penn State. This year, Curt got a tough schedule this year. Go look at who Indiana plays. They play Oregon. They play Ohio State. They play Michigan. I believe Indiana also plays USC. This is going to be a very tough schedule for Indiana this year. However, it's Curt Cignetti. So listen, I think Curt is going to do just enough to be the third best team in the Big Ten. I do want to note that I debated putting Michigan here. I debated putting Penn State here. I even debated putting USC here. Now listen, I addressed you USC haters in another video. I think that Lincoln Riley has something up his sleeve this year. I don't know what it is. I don't know why. I could be completely wrong, but I think this is going to be one of USC's best years he's had since he's been at USC since his first year. I don't think it's going to be that good, I'll be honest, because that year I think they only had one loss. But I think Lincoln Riley is going to pull out 3-loss or 2-loss season, and they're going to be in the hunt. I just feel like they're going to be a team that's going to be first out like a Texas or Vandy last year. I'm sorry, Lincoln. In that spot, it's going to be Curt Cignetti, and you can never rule out Curt Cignetti. Listen, the thing about this team is they're going to have true stars. They just got their first 5-star. Shout out to Monsoon Sales, Indiana's first 5-star recruit ever. Yeah, Curt Cignetti's building something special. But in regards to this team, Charlie Becker, Nick Marsh, they got a running back with the name Turbo Richard. Listen, Indiana's about to be good this year on offense. The defense has so many guys returning in the secondary. They're going to do enough to squeeze into these playoffs. And then once they get there, who knows what could happen? Look out. So that is my top 12. On another episode, I'm going to predict who will be the national champion for the 2026-2027 college football season. Let me know, though, who did I leave off? Who should be in the top 12 before I even go on who's going to win the matchups and go into who's playing who after the bye round? Who did I leave off that absolutely needs to be in this top 12 in the college football playoff? I want to hear from you in the comments. But thank you so much for tuning in. It's been another great episode at the Daniel Roundtree College Football Show. Listen, every new day is a good day to talk college football. Thanks for tuning in.
Daniel Roundtree got the football show.